Welcome to the tutorial for White Hearts Art Kinusaiga Kits. First off, thank you so much for your purchase of a kit. I hope that this video tutorial will help you to get the maximum amount of enjoyment out of the craft, just to help you give you a visual of how sort of the process goes and what's involved in the kit. And if you've been thinking about purchasing one, this might help you to make that decision when you see sort of how easy and fun and the beautiful result that you'll get from each and every kit. So first we'll go through the things that are included in your kit. Biggest thing here is going to be your foam board. So this is going to be 8 inches by 8 inches square by 1 inch deep. 5 of the 6 sides are covered in a double-sided adhesive. And on the front, there is a sticker template of the design that you've chosen, which is going to be pre-cut. So I've already cut every single piece with an X-Acto knife, and that will help you. And the reason that I did that is because I don't want to be shipping knives through the mail service and deal with any of that. So that's why I did decide to pre-score all of the boards for you. So that's going to be that. It also comes with a nice ribbon on the back, so you can quite easily just hang it on the wall immediately after finishing. So that is good. It'll also come with instructions, so easy to read. All of the stuff that we're talking about in the video will be in the instruction sheet as well. Also come, wood fell off, with a stitch ripper. So this is what is going to be used to tuck the material into the fabric board. So that is the tool that is included. There's also a ribbon for finishing all the sides to give it a nice clean look for showcasing once you're finished. And then there's also going to be included a selection of fabrics. So for each kit I make up, the selection of fabrics will be different depending upon what's available and what I feel like would go together when I'm putting the kit together. So each one is completely unique. So every artwork is individual, completely yours, which is very exciting. Helps you to grow artistically and really kind of show your flair for the template that you're using. The things that you'll also need that are not included in the kit are a pair of scissors. So here I have some embroidery scissors. These work really well. You would just want them to be as sharp as possible. These small ones really help for kind of maneuvering around any of the small bits because some of the pieces that we will be cutting are kind of small. You'll also need a hot glue gun, and that's to attach the ribbon around the outside of the piece at the end. And that's it. So with that being said, I'm going to go to a close-up format and show you some of the steps for how we do the process of Kinusaiga. Okay, so looking at your board, you can see that the top layer here is the template that I have printed onto a sticker paper. So that layer will peel off to reveal the backing for the double-sided adhesive. So for the first step of this, we want to leave this layer on top of the board and just peel off the sticker. So first piece that I'm going to work on is this nice big one here. We're going to work on the, I'm going to call it a rock, but if you have green, you could make it like a grassy hill, that kind of thing. When I was making this design, I was definitely thinking of like a rocky northern shoreline. So that's why in my head, I make it a rock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my fabric, my rock fabric, and then I'm going to peel off the sticker for that piece that I want to work on. And then I'm going to look at my fabric and I'm going to figure out where I would like to put the sticker, making sure that there is room around every single side of the sticker on the piece of fabric. I'm going to go there. So around the edge, you want to have a little bit more fabric than you necessarily need. when you're cutting the inside piece. So for the edges, we can leave more fabric on there, but for where this line meets another line in the interior of the design, we're wanting to cut about 1/4 inch. We'll cut like this here, all the way around the outside of the shape. So I like these little embroidery scissors. They're super sharp, nice and small, which is really helpful for kind of doing these intricate kind of curves and that kind of thing. You can also use larger sewing scissors or regular scissors if you that's all that you have. So now that we have our piece cut out, you'll see that I did not worry about the outside edges of that, because those are just going to hang over the edge of our piece. So now that I've cut that out, I can remove the sticker and discard that to the side. You'll also note that I put the sticker on the good side of the fabric. So the side of the fabric that is going to be facing upward that you're going to see in your piece. So you don't want to, so this is what the back of this fabric looks like. So here's the front good side you want to see. Here's the back side, which is just kind of, the back of the design. It's faded. It doesn't look quite the same. So we want to see this part. So that is the part that we put the sticker on. You're going to take that sticker off. And now you're going to go to your board and you're going to gently pull up the backing of the adhesive. If when you're pulling it, the adhesive feels like it's coming off, you can just rub along that backing to help it to adhere to the board and not to the backing. So now we've pulled off the entire backing of that area. So this here looks a little bit shiny. I'm not sure how well you can see that on camera, but it has the adhesive, double-sided adhesive adhered to the board. And then this side is now also sticky. So the point of that is just to keep the fabric nice and tight to the board in place while you're going to move on to the next step, which is tucking. So now you're going to kind of eyeball it there, make sure that all of the edges are over the edges of your design, and then just kind of gently give it a nice rub there so that it sticks to the adhesive. So now that's in place, and now we can move on to the tucking. It's going to keep it nice and secure for us as we move to the next step. This here is the stitch ripper. So we have a long flat end here, and this end is quite sharp. That's this side here is what you would use for cutting threads if you were using it for its intended purpose as a stitch ripper. And then it generally has this soft part at the top here, a red dot. So you're going to use it because by pushing this long flat side into the cut that's made in the foam board. So you're going to kind of want to hold it at an angle. So I'm not going up and down with it. Let's see how I can show this here. So it's not going to be an up and down, but more of a long, flat pull. So first I'm going to find the edge. Let's see where the cut was made. And then I'm going to place the flat end down and push into the cut. And you can see the fabric is disappearing into the cut. You can feel along, see where the cut goes. And we're going to continue along with that until all of the fabric is tucked. So you can turn your work. I would encourage you to go back and forth both ways to get a nice flat tuck. If you go only one way, what can happen is it's going to kind of pull the fabric, and then you're going to get little sort of like ridges or pulls because the fabric has kind of only gone one way. So if you're kind of pulling one way and then switch your stitch ripper around and push it in the other way. So going back and forth keeps it nice. So there you can see the little bump that happened. So if that happens, you can just kind of pull it up a little bit and then go back in the other way. See if you can get it so that you don't have any, and it just looks like a nice flat tuck through the entire line. Perfect. So now up a bit, you'll notice on the sides here that this is hanging over. So there's just some extra fabric hanging on here at the end. And that is going to be taken care of in the last step, where we will remove this adhesive, fold this over, and that's going to keep that all in place while we place the ribbon around the edge for the finishing. So for this one here, it's getting a little bit close to the bottom. We don't want it showing in the back side. So I'm just going to trim that up. So this might be closer to a full inch of fabric. We really want it to be hanging over about a half. So I'm going to trim that off. Okay, get rid of that. And then we're just going to leave that as it is for the time being. And we will move on, and I'm going to work through some of the other pieces. And we'll talk about anything that is a little bit of a tricky situation. Okay, so you can watch me do just a few more here, and then we'll move on, and I will tell you about some of the other pieces that are a little bit hard, and then we'll get it all finished up. So now we're going to address one of the problem spots for some of the designs and sort of a tips and tricks for you. So when you're coming across an area where it juts out, such as this area here, and you're trying to put in the area that goes around it, you may come into a problem, which we'll go over. Okay, so and I'm going to place that over top there. Perfect. Okay, so here you can see kind of the outline of where the tree is. The bough is sort of jutting out, and it's creating this point here. So if you're going to try to use your stitch ripper and just push this in like that, then you're going to notice it's never going to go over this distance of material underneath. So this is never going to cleanly tuck in here with so much of an overhang over this sort of little peninsula area. So you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut kind of like when you're making a circle where you want the edges to lie flat. You're going to cut some tabs there. And that's just going to allow the fabric some room so that it can spread over top the edge there. Now you're just going to kind of work through that. And if you can get them in, and you may need to readjust and cut as you're kind of seeing how things are going to go in. Once again, just switching the orientation of your board to best support getting it in numerous different orientations. And if at any point you found that you have a little bit too much fabric there, you can always just kind of trim it off in order to facilitate making the tucking a little bit easier. And there you go. You can see it went all the way around the bow, and a nice beautiful piece of sky there. Everything is looking pretty good. So that is kind of how you deal with these outer point areas. Some of the designs I find like cut all of these into a lot of different pieces. I kind of enjoy the larger kind of like where you can really visualize it as a painting, where they're big pieces of sky. I've tried to give you background that really creates some movement for you in making a really beautiful painting look out of fabric. All right, so I'm going to finish this up and then we are going to go on and we will, I'll show you how to finish it off with the hot glue gun and ribbon. Okay, so now we're coming to the time where we're going to finish the sides of the piece. So what we're going to do is, starting on one side, you're going to peel the adhesive backing off, leaving the adhesive there the best that you can. Now what you're going to do is fold all of those fabric pieces over. Okay, so they should go about halfway. Don't really want anything hanging over the bottom because that's going to kind of show on the back of your piece, which, I mean, it is the back, so it's not the worst thing that could ever happen. But peeling those sides off and pushing down the fabric. So you can start to see the difference between the sides that are pushed down, and it might not be perfect, and that's okay. It's going to really be finished with the ribbon, and there may be slight imperfections, but overall it will look like a beautiful finished piece that you can feel comfortable displaying. Okay, and last one here, watching that ribbon. Perfect. Flip it over. If you want, you can carefully cut some of that excess of the corners off. Don't go all the way to the front though, because then you're going to sort of see that at the front of your piece. It's just going to help with the bulky corners. Okay, so now all of the sides are pushed down, so you have kind of a really nice, as you can start to see your finished project a little bit more, where without all of those rough jagged edges that make it look unfinished. Now you're going to take your ribbon and starting at the bottom, I like to start at the bottom just because then you can't see it on the sides. It all depends how you're going to display it. If it's going to be quite high and you want to start at the top, that's okay as well. But generally I like to start at the bottom. Nobody really looks at the bottom of a piece. Then you're just going to start. Let me actually put this silicone pad here so maybe it'll stop sticking. Okay, and then you're going to kind of hot glue gun up and back, back and forth like that, and then adhere the ribbon to the side. So yeah, that's what you don't want is any sort of squirting out the front. But if you only glue kind of at the back, then you're going to get a gaping at the front, which will sort of show some of these unfinished pieces, which you don't really want that either. So just kind of front to back, working in little sections, getting a nice overall, and see how this one's kind of popping up. So you're just going to tuck it as you press the ribbon down. There you go. It's like the worst part of hot glue guns, all the stringy stuff. Then you're just going to continue to work your way around. Just kind of pressing down, making sure you have a good stick. Okay, and there she is. Okay, so we're all done. Here's the finished project. Looks great. Finished on all the edges, ready to hang. You can throw it right up on the wall there. You can sit it on a shelf. They're so nice and light that the hanging options for the Kinusaiga boards is literally endless. So some people have thought of hanging them up in trailers or places where leaving nails and stuff in the wall is not desirable. This would be a great option because it's so light. You can really just hang it up with tape, almost anything. Some of the other options that we have, I'll show you that I've finished, is this beautiful sunflower, maple leaf. So all these kits are available on the website. Something for the spring, some daffodils. So in addition to the kits, there are also pre-cut templates. So that would just be the board with the adhesive and the template on the front, which will be pre-scored. If you have a lot of your own materials, you're looking to use up if you're a quilter or a crafter, and you have sort of a hoard of material that you'd like to use, that's a great option for you. The other thing we have, for those that are not in the US or Canada, we do have a downloadable template option, and that's available on the website. So they'll all be downloaded as 8-inch by 8-inch PDF files, and that's available currently for all 18 designs. There are new designs coming, so there'll be new designs every single month on the website there. So if you're sort of waiting for something specific, just drop me an email and let me know what you're looking for, and I'll see if I can get a kit or a template up for you so you can try that. So if you enjoyed the video and you're liking the kits, please subscribe and like the video, and It's great. Thank you so much for following along. All right. Have fun crafting.